Okay, so welcome back to Whip Check. Today we're talking about a name that's reappeared after, what, 15 years? The Acura ZDX.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
And this time, it's totally different. Acura's first all-electric SUV.
Right, the original one. Well, it was maybe a bit too ahead of its time, didn't quite land.
Exactly. But this one, the 2024 ZDX Type S, that's the one that we're really digging into. It's the performance version.
And get this, it's the most powerful production SUV Acura's ever made, so definitely not aiming for a lukewarm reception this time.
No, they're swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to unpack what makes this electric ZDX tick. You know, the good stuff, and maybe where it leaves you wanting a bit more.
And we've got some great perspectives to work with. We looked at reviews from TheStraightPipes, Autofocus, Redline Reviews on YouTube.
And these aren't just quick takes. Some of them live with it for a whole week. So it gives you a really good feel for it.
Good range of views then. Okay, let's get right into probably the biggest talking point, the platform.
Yes, the GM connection.
Right. Underneath, it's sharing architecture with the Cadillac Lyriq, the Chevy Blazer EV.
It is. It's a partnership. Acura is pretty open that this is, a temporary thing while they develop their own dedicated EV platform.
So for now, you've got some GM DNA baked in.
You do. And you see that when you look at the powertrain, especially for this Type S. It's got dual motors, front and rear.
Giving you all-wheel drive, naturally, powered by a 102 kilowatt-hour battery.
Yep, lithium-ion. And the power output is, wow, it's pretty significant.
Around 499 horsepower, was it? And 544 pound-feet of torque?
That's right. And what's interesting, a few reviews pointed this out, that torque figure is actually higher than some other vehicles on this same platform.
Oh, really? Like the Lyriq?
Like the all-wheel drive Lyriq, yeah. So Acura has definitely done some specific tuning here. It's not just a badge swap.
Okay, that's a key point. So how does that power translate? 0 is 60 times?
Reports are around the 4.4, 4.5 second mark, which is, quick.
It is quick, but I sense a butt coming.
Well, yeah. The feeling from some reviewers was, for a Type S badge, maybe it could be faster, especially when you know what that platform is capable of.
Like the Blazer EVSS, right? Or the Lyriq V that's coming.
Exactly. There's a sense that maybe Acura is holding back a little bit. It raises questions about what that Type S badge really means here,
Yeah. Does it fully deliver on the performance promise?
Interesting. What about range? How far can you go?
The official number for the Type S is up to 278 miles.
Okay. Standard EV caveat applies, though. Real world might differ.
Oh, definitely. Especially in the cold. One review mentioned seeing more like 210, maybe 220 miles in colder conditions.
Right. That's always something you need to factor in with EVs.
I bet.
Planning your trips.
Absolutely. And speaking of trips, charging. Max DC fast charging is 190 kilowatts.
Which is not class-leading, but decent.
Pretty much. It's faster than its cousin, the Honda Prologue. But yeah, some competitors charge quicker.
So what does that mean practically? Like a 20-80% charge? About 38 minutes, give or take. Level 2 at home, you're looking at maybe 9 to 11 hours for full charge.
Gotcha. And it can tow a bit too, right?
Yep, up to 3,500 pounds. Useful capability.
Okay, let's switch to the outside. How does it look? Seems like people generally like the styling.
Yeah, the consensus is pretty positive. It definitely looks like a modern Acura, sort of a sleeker, maybe more athletic MDX Type S.
And the Type S gets some special touches visually.
Oh, yeah. Exclusive colors like that really nice tiger eye pearl or the double apex blue.
Yeah.
Plus you get the yellow Brembo brake calipers peeking through the wheels.
Big brakes.
6-piston Brembos up front, plus a 2-tone black roof, specific wheel options.
Yeah, the wheels are huge, right? Up to 22 inches.
Biggest ever on an Acura, yeah. They fill the arches nicely.
You still get the Acura signatures, though. The headlights, the grille.
Definitely. Those dual-eye LED headlights with the chicane DRLs and the diamond pentagon grille, but it's closed off for aero.
And it lights up.
The border lights up on the Type S, yeah. And the Acura logo itself is lit, too. Very EV.
How about the overall shape? I heard some interesting comparisons.
Well, it has a really long wheelbase, longer than an MDX, but the overall length is similar, so the proportions are a bit unique.
Leading to.
Some people liked it, called it a long roof wagon. Others were a bit less kind, maybe mentioning things like hearses.
Oh, okay. So maybe slightly polarizing proportions for some?
Potentially, yeah. Depends on your taste. The long wheelbase does give it a planted look, though.
What about practical things, like the charge port?
It's a manual door. Just flip it open.
Right.
Standard J1772 plug with the CCS combo for DC fast charging. No power open close like some rivals.
Simpler, maybe more reliable.
Perhaps. Around back, you've got distinctive LED taillights, the usual badges, plus a new little E badge for Acura's electric models.
Okay, let's move inside. This is where that GM partnership really shows up, doesn't it?
Yeah. This was a big point in the reviews. You definitely see shared GM
But
parts.
is what specifically?
Window switches, memory seat buttons. The steering wheel design is very GM. Even the key fob is basically a GM fob with an Acura logo slapped on it.
Huh. And someone mentioned the sounds.
The classic GM bong chime when you open the door or leave the lights on. Apparently, one reviewer even found a little plaque saying GM built with pride.
Wow. Okay, so it's definitely a mix in there. How does that affect the overall Acura feel?
That's the core question, isn't it? Does it dilute that premium Acura identity you expect? Acura has tried to counter it with unique materials and seats, though.
Right, the Type S seats. They look pretty good in pictures. Alcantara inserts.
Yeah, Alcantara. And you can get them in black, a light orchid color, or red leather. They're 16-way power adjustable, heated, ventilated.
Comfortable.
Generally, yes, comfort was praised. But a few reviewers felt they weren't quite aggressively bolstered enough for something with a Type S badge.
More luxury cruiser than corner carver seats, perhaps?
Maybe leaning that way, yeah.
What about the rest of the materials? Dash, trim?
It's a mix. Soft touch plastics, some nice real leather on the top of the dash, aluminum trim pieces.
Any cheap feeling bits?
There was a mention of some silver-painted plastic that maybe could have been actual aluminum to feel a bit more premium.
Okay. But a big plus, no gloss black plastic.
Huge plus. Yeah, thankfully they avoided that fingerprint magnet.
All right, tech time. Infotainment system.
It's running Google built in, so you get Google Maps right in the driver's display cluster, which is nice.
And crucially, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Yes, and wireless, which is a big deal because the Chevy Blazer EV on the same platform doesn't get wireless CarPlay.
That's a key differentiator then. How's the system itself or responsive?
Generally described as pretty responsive, yeah. Though occasional lag was mentioned in a couple of reviews, just slight hesitation sometimes.
Any weird omissions?
Kind of odd. No native Apple Music app. You have to use CarPlay if you want Apple Music.
Okay. What about the sound system?
First time Acura's used Bang & Olufsen. It's an 18-speaker system.
And how does it sound? B&O usually means good things.
Reviews range from decent to really good. So, seems like a solid audio experience for you.
Driver assistance. Acura Watch.
Acura Watch 360 plus Banavest met, and it includes hands-free cruise, which is basically GM's Super Cruise system rebranded.
Does it work well?
Yeah, reports say it works well on the pre-mapped highways it's designed for. Pretty smooth hands-free driving.
And the Type S gets special suspension, right?
Adaptive air suspension, unique to the Type S, lets you adjust the ride height depending on the drive mode. Adds to the comfort.
Speaking of comfort, what about the back seat? Space, features?
Surprisingly good back there, apparently. Lots of legroom, even more than the MDX. Flat floor, too, which helps the middle passenger.
Nice. Any ditties for rear passengers?
Yeah, rear climate controls, heated outboard seats, manual sunshades for the side windows. Pretty well equipped.
Storage seems decent, too.
Yeah, good storage overall. One tiny niggle mention was the wireless phone charger pad felt a bit loose, like the phone could slide around.
Minor thing, but potentially annoying. What about drive modes? How do you select them?
You've got individual, normal, snow, and sport. Sport pipes and some artificial motor sound, sharpens throttle, steering, firms up the suspension.
Okay, standard stuff. But how do you switch? Is it the usual Acura big dial?
No. It's actually a small toggle switch over on the left side of the dash. Another little GM influence there, different from Acura's usual setup.
Interesting. And regen braking. One-pedal driving.
Yep, adjustable levels for one-pedal driving are available. Plus, there's a paddle on the wheel for instant maximum regeneration.
Okay, so EV essentials are covered. Now, the big question, how does it actually drive?
Well, first thing you notice is the weight. It's over 6,000 pounds. It's a heavy vehicle.
Wow. Can you feel that?
You can, but that adaptive air suspension on the Type S does a really good job managing it. The ride quality was praised, even on the big 22-inch wheels.
Better than the Prologue, someone said.
Yeah, noted as being more comfortable than the Prologue, so the suspension tuning is definitely a step up.
But the handling, steering feel.
That's where the weight makes itself known again. Steering feel was described as, well, lacking feedback, a bit numb. You're always kind of aware of how heavy it is.
So, comfortable cruiser, maybe not a backroad dancer.
That seems to be the takeaway. It's comfortable. It's surprisingly quick in a straight line for daily driving.
What?
But it maybe lacks that visceral excitement, that connected Acura feel you might expect from a Type S. Again, that GM underpinning seems to soften the edges a bit.
And the artificial sound in sport mode? Like it or lump it?
Pretty subjective, as always with those things. Some might like the feedback, others might turn it off.
So, overall driving impression? Good daily driver, quick, comfortable, but maybe not quite the Type S thrill machine some hoped for.
That sums it up pretty well. Based on the reviews, it hits a lot of practical marks,
Yeah.
but maybe misses some of the emotional ones for an Acura performance badge.
Okay, let's talk money. The bottom line. How much does the ZDX Type S cost?
In Canada, it's straightforward one price for the Type S, $91,400.
And in the US, there are different trims, right?
Yeah, the lineup starts lower. The Aspect rear-wheel drive is around $64,500 base. All-wheel drive Aspect about
And
$68,500.
for the Type S we've been focusing on.
That starts around $73,500 in the U.S. before you add options and destination fees.
So where does that place it in the market? Who are its rivals?
It's aiming at the premium electric SUV space. Think BMW iX, Mercedes EQE SUV, maybe the Audi Q8 e-tron, although the Acura potentially undercuts them slightly on starting price.
Any word on lease deals or incentives? Sometimes that changes the value picture.
Yeah, those were mentioned as potentially being attractive, especially maybe for the lower Aspect trims. Definitely something for you to look into if you're shopping.
So the value proposition. Does the Type S really earn its badge at that price, given the GM connection and the performance level?
That was definitely a point of debate among reviewers. Is the badge fully justified here? It seems like you're making a trade-off.
The trade-off being,
You get the Acura styling, which most agree is quite good, and a decent list of features, maybe that B&O sound system, the air suspension.
but it's built on that shared foundation with some of those GM interior bits and maybe not quite the expected Acura driving dynamics.
Exactly. That seems to be the core dilemma for a potential buyer. How much does that accurateness matter versus the convenience of this platform partnership?
Right. So, wrapping things up. The 2024 Acura ZDX Type S is Acura's first big step into EVs. It looks good, it's powerful on paper,
It's comfortable, well-equipped inside, especially in the back.
but that GM partnership, while it got Acura into the game faster, it does mean compromises. You feel it inside, and maybe a bit in the driving experience.
Yeah, the performance is respectable, certainly quick enough for most people, but that Type S name sets certain expectations. And some feel it doesn't quite hit that high bar, especially knowing the platform's potential.
It leaves you wondering, doesn't it?
It does. You have to consider Acura's strategy here. Was partnering with GM the necessary move to get an EV out quickly, even if it meant sacrificing some brand distinction?
Or does that lack of a truly bespoke Acura feel, especially in a performance model like the Type S, ultimately detract from what people expect from the brand?
The fascinating question for you to think about, especially as we see more and more EVs hitting the market. How much does that brand heritage, that specific driving character, matter in this new electric era?
Something to definitely chew on. We really encourage you to check out those video reviews we mentioned. Compare the ZDX Type S to its rivals.
And figure out what your priorities are in an electric SUV. Is it the badge, the tech, the driving feel, the range, the charging?
Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your take or any other questions this whip check brought up for you.